session today. We are thank you. We are going to hold these meetings all the month, all the Mondays and Fridays. I'm sorry, I'm driving my car. Maybe you hear what's around me. And you are welcome here today. And I hope you can attend all the lectures with our trainers. Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Amir. And he is a doctor in Cairo University. Can you start now introducing yourself? I think it will be better than my words.
Yes, thank you so much, Summer, for introducing me, and thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about translation and interpreting today. I know this is the first lecture or session by ارتقاء International in the summer. You know, it's called the summer season or something else, but it's an honor to be the first to talk. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so, Summer. I'm going to introduce myself first, and then we're going to move together with the session, and I think it will be very fruitful to all of you. Concerning the lecture, which is me, my name is محمد عامر. I'm a lecturer of specialized translation and interpreting at Cairo University, Borsait University, and Suez Canal University. I'm also a certified translator by the Egyptian Translators and Linguists Association in Egypt. I'm also an accredited interpreter by Interprefy. It's one of the biggest interpreting platforms online. I also have a TOEFL and a TESOL certificates, which qualifies me to teach ESL, translation, interpreting, and a lot of things. I'm one of the first to apply such rules by TOEFL and TESOL to teaching translation and interpreting, which is I'm going to talk about this expressly today, inshallah. Finally, I'm the founder of الترجمة عامر initiative. It's an initiative that focuses on the new strategies in teaching translation and interpreting. One important thing that I wanted to explain much better today, that we're not going to focus mainly on teaching, interpreting, and translation. Our session is entitled Fundamentals of Translation and Interpreting. So I'm not focusing on how to teach those subject matters, but I'm going to talk about it. Of course, I discuss how to teach translation and interpreting. I'm going to link between teaching ESL and also teaching translation and interpreting, but it's not the main focus of the session. Okay, so I think this is everything about me. I eagerly call you to mute your mics and switch off your cameras, please, Dalia Abdulrahman, because your mic is open. Let me mute it. Okay, you are muted now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Still not mute. I'm going to mute all of you. Thank you. Yes, no, and yes again. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. This is my Facebook. My Facebook, if you're going to look for me, my Facebook is called Muhammad Amir, written in this way. And this is my WhatsApp number. If you want to chat with me or talk to me about anything, I'm going to answer you directly, inshallah. Don't worry, I do not ignore any messages. Now let's delve into our session today. Please, if you have any questions, just write them down in the chat box, and I'm going to answer all of your questions by the end of the session. I will never close without answering all of your questions. This is a promise by me. So let's now talk about why translation and interpreting, why delving into translation and interpreting as a job. Concerning job opportunities in translation and interpreting, not only in Egypt, but widely, regionally, nationally, and internationally, there are a lot of widely spread vacancies. And by the way, you do not have to be a true linguist. You do not have to be a graduate of faculty of arts or education or languages and translation in Egypt to be a translator or interpreter in the future. It's much better to be one of those. But if you are not one of those, you can also join us in our profession, in our job opportunities in the market, but it's not a condition. One of the main and the most important interpreters in Egypt is not a graduate of the Faculty of Arts. He is only a graduate of the Faculty of Commerce and the Arabic section, by the way, is not English. So it's not a condition. This is number one. So we have in Egypt, and maybe nationally, regionally, and internationally, we have widely spread vacancies in translation and interpreting. You know that we do not have fixed laws or syndicate for translators or interpreters in our region, but we surely have a lot of vacancies. Every single day I meet job opportunities by companies in Egypt and further spaces. You can apply for those opportunities. You can work as a freelancing. You can work as a full-time and a part-time interpreter or translator. So I think it's one of the main promising professions in Egypt and different places. You can also work in national and international opportunities. For example, today we have a lot of vacancies by the United Nations, and who does not work, doesn't want to work in the United Nations? United Nations possesses a lot of job opportunities to be one of the main interpreters in the United Nations. So we have vacancies every single day, whether they were national or international or any other level. So we have national and international opportunities that you can apply. You can apply for those opportunities on a daily basis. Translation and interpreting are also closely related to several fields. We have several fields related to translation and interpreting, including media, including conferencing, including management of events. You know, we have different fields that closely related to translation and interpreting. So you're not only mainly translating documents or interpreting at conferences. No, you're going to manage a lot of events. You can work in media, you can work in oracy, you can work in different places, because you're going to be much better in language, whether in Arabic or English or different languages. You are going to be much better than any other choices. So we have different and a lot of opportunities relating to translation and interpreting, and teaching is one of the main of those opportunities. And by the way, one of the main features and characteristics of translation and interpreting that you can work freelancingly or remotely. You can work from home. You can work from a place that you desire to work from. You can work from your own workspace, from your own workplace. You do not have to wake up every single day to go to that office and work there. Translation and interpreting provide you with opportunities to work from home, remotely, and this suits females and women more than males and men in our profession. So if you consider translation and interpreting as a side dish or as a side profession, it can go well, but I totally promise you that it's not going to be that good for you. If you're going to work in translation and interpreting, please focus on them as a main dish, as a main profession. Do not deal with them as a side one. Okay, so you can work from home, you can have a lot of clients, you can know a lot of companies, you can communicate with all of them from your own home, remotely, working as a freelancing. And by the way, you can work full-time and part-time from your home. And I totally did that a lot of times, and several years behind. I worked with big companies from home, freelancing, full-time, part-time. It all worked well. Another feature or characteristic for translation and teaching is that you're going to have a lot of connections and communication opportunities, and especially in interpreting, because interpreting You visit a lot of conference halls, events, hotels, and so on. So connecting with big characters, with big names, with big figures, with ministers, presidents, governors, a lot of businessmen, a lot of decision makers. You're going to be connected to all of those people. At the side, you're going to connect it to mega minds, translators, interpreters, teachers, trainers of ESL or translation or interpreting. So being connected to a lot or several arrays of people is one of the main characteristics of working in translation or interpreting. And I heartily like to do this. If you are going to be an interpreter, you need to be sociable, you need to be lovable, you need to be connected to a lot of people, because job opportunities in interpreting is much different from translation. In translation, you can easily access to job markets, but in interpreting, it's somehow relating to connecting to interpreters, and one of those interpreters is going to take you to a different and several conferences with him. So you need to connect to people to gain more benefit from the job. I think this is very important, that you are going to have a promising future if taken seriously, only if taken seriously, because you can work in translation, you can work in interpreting, but if taken as a side dish, as I told you before, it's not going to be much of fruitful to you. You need to focus on translation and interpreting well, seriously. Take it as a main dish, as a main profession. And you're going to be happy, you're going to benefit a lot. Just give it the needed seriousness to focus on your work, your future, your career path, and I promise you to be the most beneficiary one from such opportunities. So these are the main job market opportunities. You can work as a freelancing, you can work as a full-timer, a part-timer, you can work in a national opportunity or international ones. You can work at the United Nations. By the way, there are a lot of posts posted by United Nations these days, so you can apply. Even if you do not have the enough experience, even if you are not experienced enough, you can apply to get the experience of how to apply to tasks like this. You can be rejected, so do not be so sad that you were rejected, but you got the experience of applying to such international institutions. And in the future, when you better yourself and after professional development, you can be accepted, inshallah, in the near future. So this is number one. I'm really happy for your messages, and I receive a lot of good messages here. Thank you so much, Muhammad, Nisreen, Samah. I do not want to forget anyone. Thank you so much. If you have, again, if you have any questions, just write them down in the chat box. And by the way, this session is recorded to the cloud. I'm going to send you the video after the end of the session. And I think it's not going to be so long and heavy to you. You're going to receive the recording this night, inshallah. What does it take to be a translator or an interpreter? What do you need to be a good and professional interpreter and translator? And if you're going to be an interpreter, you need to know and to be professional in two main skills. As an interpreter, you need to be very, very good in speaking and listening, because in conferences and in interpreting profession, you're going to listen a lot, whether in consecutive interpreting and simultaneous conferencing and so on, and speaking as well. So if you're working in side, consecutive, simultaneous, or conferencing, or any kind of interpreting, you're going to speak, whether in Arabic and in English. I'm not talking about English only. I'm talking about Arabic. And most of the jobs, you're going to translate and interpret into Arabic, not English, by the way. This is very important to know. You need to focus well on this. You need to work on your grammar. You need to work on your lexis, vocab. listening skills, speaking skills, quick thinking, creative thinking, critical thinking, and different skills. You want to be much better in this, much better than anyone else, much better than any teacher, much better than any other interpreter, because it's a very competitive job market. This is about interpreting. What about translating? If you are going to be a translator, what are you going to do in this? Reading and writing. So in any language, we have 4 skills. We have 2 for interpreting, which are listening and speaking, and we have another 2, reading and writing, because in translation and written translation, you're going to meet a lot of documents, you're going to meet a lot of files and papers. You need to read well, you need to be a good reader, you need to be a quick reader and a quick writer as well. You need to know how to write a good sentence, a good passage, a good paper to prove your abilities as a translator. So these are the main linguistic skills. But it's very important that you put yourself in a placement test before working in translation or interpreting. A placement test can be done in IELTS or TOEFL. And to be frankly speaking, I think band 6 in IELTS goes well in translation and interpreting. Only band 6. You do not have to be much higher than this, but please do not get any score that is lesser than band 6. Concerning TOEFL, the local one, and I believe that 500 is much enough for you to start your career in translation and interpreting. And you know, both this fulfill the 4 skills of any language: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Okay, so these are the main linguistic skills that you need to focus on: writing, reading, speaking, and listening. Listening and speaking for interpreting, and reading and writing for translation. And there is a very important question here. Can I mix between, and can I work in both translation and interpreting? Yes, of course you can. Of course you can, and I totally advise you to do so. It's not a condition that you are a translator before an interpreter, or being an interpreter before being a translator. It's not a condition. No, it's not a condition, because I'm being asked about this hell of times, and it's not a condition. You can work directly into translation without moving to interpreting. You can work as an interpreter without being a translator. But I totally advise that you work in both, as a translator and as interpreter, as I did. By the way, I'm a graduate of the Faculty of Arts, and in the Faculty of Arts English department, we do not learn anything about interpreting. So I graduated as a translator, and after a few years, I learned about interpreting. So I added another skill to my linguistic skills. So I work as an interpreter and a translator in the same time right now. It's not a condition, as I told you before, that you work in translation before interpreting, or vice versa. It's not a condition. You can work in both simultaneously. Okay, thank you so much for your patience. Now let's move to another slide. Yes, and this is a very important question. Do you have to be a specialized translator or not? A specialized interpreter or not? Do you have to be specialized in a certain topic: legal, commercial, medical, literary, community, or political translation or interpreting? It goes, or it applies to both fields in translation and interpreting. It's good to be specialized, but I do not totally recommend it, especially in the beginning. If you are a novice, if you are a beginner, if you taking your first steps in translation and interpreting, do not waste any professional development opportunities. Please work in everything. And I remember my first steps in translation, and I worked in different subjects: history, legal, literary, politics, finance, and I really hit numbers and figures and so on, but I worked in financial and technical fields a lot. I got those experiences, and in translating different subjects from my own specialty. So I do not call for being specialized in something per se. You can choose your own fields after 5 or 7 years of experience, but in the first, you need to work in everything, everything. Do not say no. Do not refuse. Do not reject any jobs, because it's important to gain experience. It's good to build a reputation as a good translator. You need to focus well on different arrays and areas of translation. Um, in translation, there is a pyramid, and I call it the translation pyramid, at the top of which is legal. Legal is the best and the most common field of translation, not only in Egypt or in the Arab region, and the whole world. In both translation and interpreting, by the way. Legal is the biggest field. You're going to work a lot on legal, translating judgments, verdicts, rulings, court documents, a lot of documents in legal field. This is number one. After that, we have commercial and financial translation, auditing, contracts, POAs, power of attorneys, different commercial documents. And this is very important in the job market because every single one of us wants to travel abroad. We need to translate our documents. So they are either legal or commercial. And it's very important to know that you're going to meet a lot of people wanting to translating the same document. For example, a certificate of birth, and I translating dozens, and dozens of birth certificates, marriage certificates. They are all the same. So every single day we have the same certificates and samples of translation. So legal and commercial are the main controlling fields of work in translation and interpreting, by the way. Number three, which is very important, is especially after COVID-19 pandemic, medical. Yes, medical is very important in our time, in our meantime, in our post-pandemic duration. We have different conferences held here in Egypt, focusing on COVID-19 symptoms and new pharmaceutical solutions. So medical translation, whether in documents or in conferences, there are a lot. And by the way, we have different companies that need interpreters per phone, you know, tele interpreters. They are called the tele-interpreters. Yes, tele-interpreters. The interpreters work on phone, with work through phone. You're going to sit on a phone, and there are two people. One of them is patient, and the other one is the physician or the doctor. The patient's going to give his own what he feels and what aches him. You're going to translate this to the doctor. The doctor diagnoses what he suffers from and gives the medication. So you're going to translate this from the patient to the doctor, and from the doctor to the teacher. Sorry, to the patient, not the teacher, because I'm a teacher. So literary translation. By the way, I forgot to tell you that I have 10 books translated by me. My name is printed on the cover of every single one of those. So literary translation is one of the most promising fields in translation. And in translation, much better than interpreting. You can work in different publishing houses, whether in Egypt or further places, because we have a lot of publishing houses that encourage younger people to work with those, because they are young, they are fresh, they are quick, they are much active, and they love the profession, they love the reputation, they love being famous in the first steps of their lives. So literary translation, translating novels, short stories, poetry, drama, everything. Okay, now I answered this question. No, you do not have to be specialized interpreter. No. Samah Shadi. No, it's not important. You can work in anything in interpreting. What applies to translation applies also to interpreting. So work in everything, everything and job opportunities in interpreting are very variable and very essential to your future, that you go to different conferences. Please and know this very well for your future. Thank you so much. Concerning community translation, and I hear mean community interpreting, translating and interpreting to foreigners in Egypt. For example, if we have an American citizen who's married to an Egyptian man, they stand before the court to document their marriage certificate. So we're going to translate and interpret such duties and rights between the husband and wife. They have duties, they have responsibilities that they need to know. You're going to be an interpreter. And by the way, it's very profitable. By the way, it's very expensive to translate such procedures before the jury or before the court. So community interpreting is very, 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 very profitable. Political translation, my adorable and the most loving one, political translation and interpreting as well. And in a time of political and economic crises after the war between Russia and Ukraine, we have a lot of political. Please mute. Okay, I'm going. Sorry, I muted myself. Oh my God, I muted myself instead of that one. Okay, so I'm back. Political translation after the Russian-Ukrainian war and after the Chinese-Taiwanian harassments, political translation is widely spread in the job market. The job market added a new feature that you can translate and interpret in the same time. So in different conferences held by the presidency or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there are conferences that you can interpret in and also translate their documents. For example, minutes of sessions, conferences, and so on. You can translate all of those. Translation and interpreting in the same time. And the politics is very nice, in my opinion, at least. You can work in both. How to translate a passage? I'm going to check this quickly, but it's very important that you know that it's a career path. It takes long time and effort, excessive effort, to be professional in translating passages, long passages, complex passages, specialized passages. We have two main strategies. If you're going to translate or interpret as a site, in site interpreting, you hold the paper and stand before the people, and if it's written in English, you're going to give the Arabic, and vice versa, if going to give the English. And we use the hotspot strategy, which is number one. Hotspot strategy focuses on three main elements: main idea and main words and hot words. The main idea is that you need to know what the text is talking about, what the text, okay, on the Okay, I'm back again. So if you're going to translate a passage in a written way or orally, please focus on the main idea. The main idea is always mentioned in the first statement sentence. It's called sentence for a reason. It states the main subject and the main idea of the text. So when you hold the paper, when you get a paper, when you get a message that you need to translate from English into Arabic or vice versa, please focus on the main idea or the statement sentence of the text. Number two, main words. Main words, I mean main words that you know, the main words that formulate the main pieces of the text. The text does not go well without those main words. So I got a text to you today, and we're going to translate it into Arabic together. So focus on the main words. The main words that the text can't go well without. The main words are the big ones, are the hotspot words, okay? Hot words that you do not know about. that you can be hesitant about. They are either difficult words that you do not know the meaning of, or words that you are hesitant about the meaning of. What happens in this situation? You can guess the meaning through context, or, which I do not totally recommend, you can skip. So not every single word that you do not know you skip. Do not skip a lot of words, because you're going to lose a lot of context and a lot of the meaning of the sentence. So you can just guess the meaning from context. If you are experienced enough, you're going to pass this quickly. If you're not that experienced, please do not skip a lot of words, only one or two. The rest or the remaining you can guess the meaning of. So this is number one, hotspot strategy. We have another strategy that's called filtering strategy, which is very important, by the way, but it's secondary to hotspot strategy. Filtering focuses on 3 steps. Number one, we look for the detailed idea. So it's different from the hotspot strategy. In the hotspot strategy, we look for the main idea and statement sentence. But in the filtering strategy, it's called the filtering for a main reason that we delve directly into details, into the main details of the passage. So look for the detailed idea through giving an overall eye to the passage. Number 2, hot words, which are difficult words that you do not know the meaning of. And number 3, conclusion, the last and the ending sentence of the passage. Is very important to know the conclusions of any passage, that you know the conclusion, you know the results, you know the findings, the recommendations of any passage through reading and recognizing the final sentence of the text. Now I have an example to you. We have a passage that talks about opera. You know, opera is very important for our musical and artistic behaviors. Yes, this is an example, ya Zainab. This is an example. Now we have a passage of how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 or 9 lines. If you have a passage like this, whether in a written way or orally, you need to focus on certain components. Look at the lines colored in yellow. Opera refers to a dramatic art form. This is the statement sentence. This is the main idea of the text. The text talks about opera, talks about opera house. What about the conclusion? If you are using the filtering strategy, look at the yellow ending sentence. The singers are accompanied by musical ensemble ranging from a small instrumental ensemble to a full symphonic orchestra. This is the conclusion of the text. So what about the key words, the main words, the words that form the main pieces of the text? They are in green. Look into originating. You need to know a lot of those words. Originating, you cannot translate this text without knowing the word originating in Arabic. Emotional. Audience, what's the meaning of audience in Arabic? Al-Jumhur, for example. Through the lyrics, what's the meaning of lyrics in Arabic? Al-Kalimat. Theater, musical theater, masrah. Performance, it means ada. And acting means what? It means tamthil. So these are the main words. These are the key words. You need to know the meaning of those words well. If you have any problem, if you do not know the meaning of those words, you have a serious problem, and you need to work on your vocab very, very, very well. Okay, so let's move to hot words. Disastrous words, the words that you do not know the meaning of, if they are difficult, if they are complex. This is the first time that you see this word in your life. You need to guess the meaning. Okay, please mute you. If you are there, if you are hearing me, please mute yourself, because I hear a lot of voices here. Okay, now let's get back to our business. What about the meaning of the word conveyed? Conveyed, the one in red in number 2, in line number 2, is conveyed. What is the meaning of conveyed? You don't know the meaning of. That's why it's in red. What about vocal? an instrumental in line number 3. What about scenery? Libretto. And the word libretto is very it's very new word, and it's written libretto in Arabic. Sorry. So the word libretto is transliterated into Arabic into libretto. Lam ya ra b ta wow. Libretto. The word libretto. It's not translated into Arabic. It's an English one. Sorry, it's an Italian one that moved into English and transliterated into Arabic as libretto in Arabic. Ensemble. What is the meaning of ensemble as well? And symphonic. And symphonic, one of the Arabized words, and it's called symphony. You know the meaning of those words. How can I act in a particular situation? You can guess the meaning of those words. Of course, in written translation, it's a very difficult situation. And interpreting, sorry, it's a very difficult situation because you do not have access to the internet or dictionaries to look for those words. But in written translation, you have time, have the internet, have the leisure to ask your professors, your mates, your colleagues, your friends around the world. And if you're listening to texts as simultaneously, difficult. If you don't know the meaning of such, you will never have the opportunity to look for. So you need to work on your guessing. You need to work on how to guess over the meaning of a word in a different language. For example, if you are going to translate the word vocal in line number 3, so you met the word vocal and you do not know the meaning of vocal in Arabic. You can guess the meaning of, and we have voices here again, and I'm going to mute you all, and thank you so much. Now it's much better. The word vocal, it's closely related to voice. So vocal is somehow related to voice, so you can translate it into صوتي in Arabic. An instrumental. What does it mean? It's taken from an instrument, which means أداة. So opera is played either vocal or an instrumental. تلعب صوتيا أو باستخدام أداة. صوتيا أو وباستخدام أداة. Okay, so if you met a lot of difficult words in one text, in one given text, you need to guess the meaning of. What if I can't guess the meaning of such words? Please do not skip a lot of them. Do not drop all of them. Yeah, I want you to exert much effort in avoiding this. Please, you can guess, you can work on this, and it takes time and effort. If you are practicing 1 hour a day in translation or interpreting, you're going to be much better in the future, inshallah. Okay, thank you so much. This is an example, and this is an invitation to you. If you want to translate to this text and send it to me to give you the feedback, you're welcome, and I totally welcome it. It's not a problem, and I do not mind if you send me the text to give you the feedback. Let's get back to the main question. Translation before interpreting, it's not a condition. It's not a condition. You can work translation and interpreting simultaneously at the same time. You do not have to be a graduate of the Faculty of Arts, Education, or the Languages, or ELSON, or any specialized faculty. It's somehow recommended. It's natural, but it's not a condition, because if you have the necessary linguistic skills, you can work well. Okay, this is very important. So what are the main areas of interpreting in the job market? We have different areas and fields. Number one, sight interpreting. As I showed you before, you hold the paper in a meeting, in a session, and you translate it from one language to another. The setting is different in consecutive interpretation, because in consecutive interpretation you only listen to the text, you do not have the text in hand, so you held paper in your hand and you take notes. And by the way, I'm going to give you another session on how to take notes in consecutive interpreting. I promise in the near future, inshallah. Consecutive interpreting, you use your listening skills and your speaking skills, not your reading skills. So this is the main difference between silent interpreting and consecutive. Consecutive, you listen to the speaker for a while, wait for him till he ends, and then after that you give the translation into another language. And after you stop, he gets back to his speech, and he talks for a while, and after he stops, you then translate again. Simultaneous interpreting is the head of the pyramid, it's the peak of interpreting business. Simultaneous interpreting, it's called in Arabic الترجمة التبعية or التتابعية. Sorry. الفورية. Consecutive is التبعية or التتابعية. Simultaneous is الترجمة الفورية. And you sit in a booth in a cabin that is electronically prepared for giving interpreting away from the speaker. The speaker does not hear you. The speaker does not see you. Only audience, only those who wants to listen to the translation can hear you. So you sit in a booth, you give the translation simultaneously while the speaker is talking. So you wait only 3 seconds to 5 seconds after the speaker. So if he says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, as-sayyidat wa as-sada, and when he says as-sayyidat, you can translate Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which is I also recommend that you translate into in the name of God, not in the name of God, the most gracious, the most gracious, ever merciful, only in the name of God to avoid wasting time. Conference interpreting is very important, and there is somehow a mix between simultaneous interpreting and conference interpreting. There is a difference, yes, there is a big difference between them. Simultaneous interpreting is different, a different mode from conference. Conference only happens in conferences. Simultaneous, you do not have to be a conference interpreter to be a simultaneous interpreter. For example, if you translate in a seminar, in a meeting, in different modes, this is not a conference. A conference is a conference. A conference is held in a conference hall, is held in a conference session in certain settings. So you are a conference interpreter. You're not a simultaneous. And in conference interpreting, you can provide different arrays of interpreting simultaneously, consecutively, or silently, and different arrays of interpreting. Community translation, as I told you before, or community interpreting, you can translate to foreigners, whether they are Egyptians abroad or foreigners here in Egypt. Community translation is very important and fruitful. Medical interpreting, as I told you before, sorry for the coughing. Medical interpreting, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, it widely spread in the job market. We need a lot of medical interpreters because we have a lot of conferences focusing on equipment, on solutions, on new medications for the COVID-19 and new diseases that we discover every single day. Finally, I want you to talk about how to find a training and translation and interpreting. How can I be trained on translation and interpreting? We have different opportunities. We have different websites online, at the top of which is browse.com. Browse.com is the biggest and the most and the widest network for translators and interpreters. You can, for free, make a profile on browse.com and get jobs directly to your email, and they send you job opportunities every single day. If they want a translator or an interpreter, reviewer, editor, proofreader, even a teacher, you can get teaching job opportunities from browse.com. It's very important. So you can now look into browse.com, make a profile, and get job opportunities. Number two, which is only for interpreters. European Union repository مكنز الاتحاد الأوروبي. It's a very important website. It provides every single session that's held in the European Commission, in the European Union, to be translated into different languages and in different modes: sites, consecutive, and interpreting, simultaneous interpreting, of course. So you can train yourself on this. You can record your own interpretation. You can listen to different interpreters, professional interpreters, and learn from them. You can also practice shadowing on such website. Only write European Union repository on Google, and the first result, log into it, and it's for free. We have two important solutions. One of them is, it's called Interpretrain, and Interpretrain provides a training for free for interpreters. You can be trained on the KAI tools, computer-aided interpreting tools. You can work on those. You can be trained on those for free. You do not pay any single penny. And Interpremai gives you solutions to be trained on platforms like Interprefy, like Apple conferences, like Kwakwa, like Acado, and so on. So you can be trained on those for free. Again, for free. You will never pay any pence. Total Languages focuses on both translation and interpreting. So and especially telephone interpreting. You know, telephone interpreting, you said you use a phone to translate from one patient to one physician, medical translation, customer service, and different services through telephone. And finally, this is an invitation to all of you to join Translators Without Borders, مترجمون بلا حدود. It's a website that is free, and you only work there as a volunteer. You do not get paid, but you get the feedback. For example, if you work to translate to international organizations, and by the way, I translated to the Red Cross before, and it was for volunteering, and they gave me a very nice feedback. They gave me a certificate of recognition, شهادة تقدير, and it was very nice of them to remember my endeavors, my efforts with them, and they sent me such certificate, which proves that I'm a good translator, I'm a good interpreter. You can train yourself for free in that website, and you're going to enjoy a lot of those features and characteristics. Finally, this is our final slide, and then after that, I'm going to answer all your questions. We have a list of do's and don'ts. Number one, do not fall to unprofessional announcements. We have every day we have a lot of announcements that are not professional at all. Please do not answer any vacancies that are taken from Yahoo or Google or Hotmail. If it's not a paid email, if it's not from a paid email, you know, Yahoo and Gmail are for free. Anyone can steal your efforts, can steal your translation, and goes away, and you will never meet him again. So stick to professional announcements that come from direct clients, from professional companies, from companies that you know well, or you can ask about those companies as well. Number two, do insist on sustainable professional development. Professional development means courses, take trainings, ask for feedback, look for big translators, big interpreters, and connect with them. Please insist on this. And if you practice interpreting and translation only 1 hour a day, this is called a sustainable professional development. Only 1 hour a day out of 24 hours. It's very fruitful for your future. Number three, don't lag behind due to procrastination. Do not procrastinate and just get into the job right now. Do not follow any procrastinating people. Do not fall into delaying jobs or deeds or tasks to tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. No, you have a task, you have a job, just do it right now. Do apply to jobs and professional trainings. As I told you before, it's not a condition that you're going to be accepted or approved from the first time. Only apply, only apply. If you are accepted, okay, goodwill, congratulations, you got the job. If you are rejected, you will learn that something went wrong with your application. Something went wrong about your CV, your cover letter, your application process is somehow mistaken. So you got experience that this step needs to be reviewed by you. So in the next time, you're going to be accepted, inshallah. Do not refuse projects due to difficulty. And we meet this a lot. We have a lot of difficult jobs. And not every job needs to be easy and easily accessed. No, there are a lot and dozens of difficult tasks. So we're not going to refuse them because they are just difficult. Because life itself is difficult. You're going to refuse it? Of course not. So say yes. Say yes as long as you can do it. It's difficult, yes, it's difficult, but you can do it. Okay, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of practice, but by the end of the day, you can do it. So do not refuse or reject projects due to difficulty. And this is very important, and this is my last and most important advice to all of you, to all of us. Do connect and communicate with peers. Know a lot of translators, interpreters, linguists, professionals. You will need to know these people because these people, they hold the keys of the profession. They know how to get tasks. They know how to go to webinars, sessions, meetings, conferences. They can take you with them. They can basement projects to you and further translators. Please connect to each other because we are not much big community. We are hundreds to thousands of translators and interpreters in Egypt. So we don't have a syndicate. We do not have a lot of associations or professional associations in the Arab world. We need to connect each other, and this is an invitation by me to you to connect to each other as usual. And I really thank ارتقاء for this opportunity that we can connect every single day if we are connected together, if we can together, if we can hold a monthly gathering in some place. So teachers, translators, interpreters, professionals, we can all, and even students and learners of English language and ESL, so we can meet on a monthly gathering and share our knowledge and experience. Thank you so much. I'm done. So windows open, to the floor is yours to answer me any questions, and I will never close without answering all of your questions. Now let's see your questions here from the beginning. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, do we have any questions here? It's my pleasure. Without translation, you won't achieve collaboration with any nation. Yes, without translation, you will never achieve collaboration with anyone, not only Asians. Would you mind sending us some books with samples, please? Yes, of course. You can follow the page Targum with Amir, Targum Amir in Arabic. You can write it in Arabic on Facebook, and you can log into and follow and stick to the page. I'm going to apply and upload a lot of books and documents, focusing on samples, by the way, on the page. What is the first step then? Can we have an example? Yes, you were talking about site interpreting. So I showed you the first steps to follow on site interpreting. If the hot word is important for the meaning and I do not know its meaning, it may affect the meaning. What can I do? You can guess the meaning, as I told you before, you can guess the meaning out of context. You got the context as the word orchestra, not orchestra. The word vocal, yes, I do remember this. The word vocal, you do not know the meaning of vocal in Arabic, so you can guess the meaning of it. You can relate it to the closest meaning. Vocal is taken from voice, and voice means a صوت, so vocal, it means صوتي. You can guess the meaning out of the context. It takes somehow experience and practice. It takes time, but you can do it. Totally easy, totally accessible, so it's not that problem. And if it's somehow impossible, you cannot guess the meaning, you cannot predict the meaning of the word, you can skip it. But please, an advice from an interpreter, from a translator to you, please do not skip every single word that you do not know the meaning of. What are the main steps before being a professional? First of all, you need to be trained well. You need to be trained well. You need to focus on professional development. You need to apply to jobs. You need to appear in conferences, meetings. You need to connect to translators and interpreters, and so on. You're going to know the steps by yourself if you are connected to translators and interpreters. Do we have any other questions? Yes, I need some names about the books and religious translations. Yes, we have a post. We have a post on this on the page on ترجمة عامر. You'll find them on the page.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Muhammad.
Okay, thank you so much, Summer. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk today. Thank you. Are you there, Summer? Okay, they need the link of only 1 minute. Yes, this is ترجمة. They just need the link, and here is the link. I wrote it down. Okay, yeah, Summer, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I will share the link for the certificates right now. But before this, I'd like to share. It's a post on Facebook. I want the participants to add their comment about the session under this post, please. Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Okay. In the chat box, but please go to the post and add your comment. And this is me, Summer Sami, and I would like to thank you, Summer Sami Najjar, because some people don't know my full name. And as a representative of ارتقاء Academy, I would like to thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate the time you took from your time to present such an outstanding presentation.
Thank you so much, Summer. Awesome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It was really awesome.
I'm going to send you the link of the recording. You know the recording. The recording is mine, so I'm going to send it to you to share it on the page.
Yeah, please send the recording. I would like you to send to me because we are going to post it on YouTube channel.
Okay.
Our YouTube channel.
Yes,
yeah, and we are waiting for you. I just wanted to tell them that you are going to present on, I think, 17th of June. It will be about public speaking, and
public speaking yes.
It's a really good topic to talk about.
Thank you.
I will also want to I would like also to inform the audience that next Monday we will have a great session about how will your teaching be after CELTA. This one will be presented by Dr. Atiya Ata. I will share the link again for the YouTube and the certificates, for the Facebook. And here is the link for just a moment. I just stay, I'm taking a, this one. Make sure that you don't give this link for others because this is only for the people who are attending now. Please write your full name as you want it to be in the certificate. Any mistakes, we're not going to correct them later. So please make sure that you write your full name, your dad, and your family, not more than this, just 3 names, and write it in English. Okay, add your email because we are going to send it by email, and also you can add your phone number. It will be helpful if we can't reach you out with the email. No, the certificate, no. How the number is full? No, it's not, because we didn't close it. Just a minute, let me check. It's open. No, it's open, you can do it. Dr. Muhammad, can you please click on the link of the certificate to make sure that it's working, if you don't mind? So I will share it again. Dr. Muhammad? I think, no, it works. I see here, it's open. Okay, so no problem. I will give you my number, or just a minute. Can you make sure, guys, that the link is working? I will add it again. It's working. Yeah, Ms. Mervet, I tried to open it and it's working. So I don't know what's the problem with you. So I will add the number for the customer service, and maybe you can go there and add your name. Just a minute. So I added here the link for the phone number. Yeah, so I added again the link. Please, if you have any problem, please call. Don't call, just send a message. Okay, so you can send a message in the number. And here is the link. Again, I added the link. Okay. Thank you so much.